Hey friends, it's Nancy. Welcome back for another video. I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day. That was just yesterday, and we had a great time. I have my hearts up here. I'm standing in my kitchen, and I know you've been in my kitchen before, but don't know if I ever pointed out these little hooks that I have on my ceiling that are great for displaying things. I don't know if I told you that this was my aunt and uncle's home, and my husband and I bought it off of them, and my aunt and uncle had really cool antiques that they hung up. So I do that in the summer months, but I switch it over in the fall because that way I can get it all cleaned. And Colleen just loves having, like, I got all these hearts hanging in my ceiling. So yeah, I might be a little crazy with my decorations, but it's fun. She loves it. So that is my kitchen, and I have decorations throughout the house. Just that you have a little more time in the off season to do that. I even have a tree. I don't know if you ever noticed this tree here. It was here at Christmas, and now it is Valentine's, and soon it will be St. Patty's Day, which I'm going to talk to you about today. That's our next holiday. I know some people are just like, wear a green shirt, it's St. Patty's Day. But for us, our family has always celebrated because we are Irish. But for us, it means something totally different than it ever has before. We celebrate um, all together. We have like 200, 250 people that get together. And this year we're meeting on St. Patty's Day. So it's really cool. But I'll tell you what it is that we do. When Colleen started the diet, she became seizure free in the hospital. Like I talked to you about the GLUT1 video, like I'm going to make a totally different video about the diet because the ketogenic diet is just amazing, and what it did for Kyle is just amazing. But for her to go from up to 100 seizures a day to have none, like we were in the hospital 2 days, well 5 days total, but 2 days left in the hospital, and seizures were completely gone. um, we still had, she was still delayed. She still had other medical issues, but for us, the seizures, that was a big thing. She was on no medication, only on the diet. And then we came home and we're like, still not seeing seizures. This is cool. Like, we used to see anywhere from, I mean, she could have like 50 in the morning up to 100 a day. And like sometimes you just didn't count. You just knew, okay, Kyle, I'll hold her and do all you can to get her through it. And they were real fast. And she kind of just stopped and her head would drop and she would just keep on going. But as we counted down the days, it was, 1 week. Well, that's amazing. Then we go to 1 month, 2 months, up to 8 months, 9 months. And I had a calendar. In fact, somewhere I kept the calendar because I would just write on there, 150 days, 200 days. And then I realized, I'm like, we're getting back into March. March is the day that she started the diet in March, where she was admitted into CHOP. And I'm counting, and I said, oh my gosh, she is going to be 1 year seizure free on St. Patty's Day. So, how awesome was that? Like that first year, we took a picture, and she had on her Irish gear, and it was um, in fact, someone in her room had made a sign, 1 year seizure free, and we still have that hanging in her room. One of her assistants in her room, Amanda, who's a great artist, and Ka has her artwork displayed in her room, made this sign, and I even take it to the benefit that we do. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about, what we do for St. Patty's Day, is we came up with that we had to do something. We had to raise awareness because this very rare disease, once Ka started the diet, it was amazing. And you can't help but think, if other people are going through what we went through and we're able to help them, because we had the right doctors, and yes, she was 5 when she was diagnosed, but think of that child that's diagnosed when they're an infant or a toddler, like how amazing that is. So our thing was, how can we get this out here? We need to let people know about GLUT1. And we decided to have a benefit. Not for us, the money does not go to Mike and I, but trust me, having a special needs child it's costly. She's 14 now. We've been buying diapers for 14 years, and the diet's expensive. And we live in New Jersey, and things seem to be a little different here in getting help. So, we're not on Medicaid. We have insurance, and we just are grateful that our insurance covers as much as it does. And in fact, that's what made us really start fundraising, because not only to get the word out there, like just awareness about GLUT1, but Colleen was so delayed, and she's still speech delayed, that I mean, you've heard her speak on the video. She's delayed, but we know what she's saying. But sometimes there's great frustration there in her trying to tell us what she wants to tell us. So she has a communication device, and all the paperwork that was done, like her therapist at her school, talked to me, and she says, I think she would do well with this. It's called a Dynavox. It's what she used when she was very young. And the therapist filled out all the paperwork, and the thing is, like, we don't know, is the insurance going to cover it? And I want to say the cost of that was $8,500 back, going back years ago, like when Kyle was diagnosed. Well, even before she was diagnosed, I think she was 4. So you get that phone call, and back then you had caller ID and with your home phone, and I see that it's Dynavox, and I'm like, they said, your communication device is ready. Would you like us to send it to school, or do you want to get it at home? And usually it does go to school because they program things in there, and it's just amazing, like what this communication device does. So I said, oh yes, please send it to school. And then my last thing was, well, on the phone, I'm like, well, how much do we owe? And they said, you have a deductible of $100. So we were like, oh my God, what a blessing. So she had this communication device that, for her, that's how she used her words. And it may have been like, if she wanted a paper towel, one time she went through and it brought up, like, actually she hit toilet paper, and I was like, oh, a paper towel. So it has really helped us back then with her communication. So that was our other thought, because there was another child that was supposed to get a device, and his insurance wasn't as great as ours. And it's sad that you have to go through that, but that's another thing, like why we will always try to help out and raise funds for anything that we can. So imagine, your child for the first time telling you I love you through this communication device. So when you heard that, it's like, Mommy, I love you. And I just knew, like, okay, I got to help every child that I can. We got to raise money. And that's why we do what we do. And our family has always done. We've always, like, as a kid, Anita and I served at things at the firehouse. Like, they used to have ham suppers, and Anita and I were like young teenagers, like Colleen's age, serving, the people that came out. And we just learned, like, that's what you do. You help out. So to have a special child and, to raise awareness, came up with, hey, let's do something on St. Patty's Day. So our event this year is on St. Patty's Day, March 17th, and we call our event Irish for a Cure. If you see the shirt I'm wearing, it says Irish for a Cure, and it says 1 of 500, and then it says down at the bottom, I love someone with GLUT1. Our first shirt was actually a green shirt, and that makes sense with all the Irish stuff. And we did the green shirt, for 2 years, and then we went on to the yellow because Colleen's favorite color is yellow. And how amazing that she struggles to identify colors. She struggles with a lot of things, but she can always tell you the color yellow. And it is her favorite, and she doing better with saying yellow, but she kind of says lello. So we went with the yellow shirts for 2 years. We did. So for us, we decided we had to do a fundraiser, and it's a lot to learn. Like, because we've always done it, it's really nothing for me. Like, it's, it's a lot of hours that I put in every night, and I do feel bad because people offer, they're like, I could come help you send out letters, but I'm up at, like, I put Kyle to bed. Luckily, she does go to bed early, then I do things. Then I'm sitting here at 11 o'clock at night. So for me to have somebody come over, it's usually me watching Jimmy Fallon, and I do all my letters and send them out. And it's a lot of emails. And the thing is, you're trying to get people to make donations. So if you ever thought of doing a fundraiser, this may help you out with that too, because I'll tell you what it is that I do, what we do. First thing you need is, for us, with GLUT1 deficiency, they have a 501c3, which makes things a heck of a lot easier. And I told you how rare the disease is, and I remember years ago at a conference for GLUT1, it was explained to us that, yeah, we can do fundraising separate, but together we would work much better. So we all work under the same 501c3. There are some families that have their own, and that works for them. And it's actually, living in New Jersey probably would be a lot easier for us, because some of the stuff we're dealing with right now is like a little crazy, but we're going to get through it. So without a 501c3, if you just have maybe a friend that you'd like to help out, you could do things, and it would be, you'd have to find a facility to have your benefit at, and then it would be, if they're okay with you doing it, if you didn't have any type of paperwork like that, because like the taxes that you pay on stuff, you don't have to pay the taxes with the proper paperwork. But some places will just donate. They will say, hey, you have a friend in need, or I know that person, I'm going to give you the haul. And people are great, because a lot of times it's tough, because for Glute One, we're not based here in New Jersey. But what I'm finding is, when I physically go and I hand out, like, I have paperwork that I made up. This is the sign that I hang up to advertise like what we have going on. I have a letter from the Glute One Foundation, and that's very important for fundraising, because that's their letterhead. You need something on letterhead. And in my personal letter, like, we write a story about Colleen, and I find like stuff that I mail out, like, we're here in New Jersey. If I send this to the Philadelphia Eagles, they may say, I don't, and you can't blame them, because imagine all the letters they get, where sometimes they help, sometimes they don't, and I'm finding it's more of a personal thing. Like, if I go to a local business, and some people that know Colleen, like, I don't even have to say anything. They're like, it's that time of year, and they're excited. They want to help out. And some places, you leave the paperwork, and then they call and say, I read this. Like, this is your daughter. Because in there I explain that it's a fundraiser, not for our daughter, not for us personally. We send the money for research. And then last 2 years, we've been sending, well, this will actually be our third year, sending money for the CHOP, what's Children's Hospital Ketogenic Program, the program that helps so many children. And we send money to her school for the Parent Group Association. And her school is just amazing. So we had to add them to the fundraiser, because right now I'm able to make this video, and like, I have time to myself, and it's amazing that some of the things that Colleen goes through, like, you need a little break. So when she's at school, and like, I can farm, I can work, I can just sit on the chair, which I rarely do, but we're blessed to have such a great school. So we send them some funds as well from benefit. For us, we have, like I said, about 200 to 250 people. It's family, it's friends, it's total strangers. So when I speak at the benefit, I am just overwhelmed, because the big thing is, for us, is awareness, to bring out there, like, about Glute One. And the money that we raise, to me, is just like a bonus, because if we could help out any child that's not diagnosed, that maybe their parent will hear about it, and then they're diagnosed, like, how awesome would that be? So awareness is really important for us. And it's also like to bring the family together and the friends together, and it's more important, like I always say, the people that are in your lives every day, like my friends that will take Colleen for a day, and like, she has medicine if she has a terrible seizure, and that's a lot to put on someone, but I do have some people that will watch her, and that's a blessing. So the people that are in our lives every day are just, we're blessed to have them. And then the people that come out for Irish for a Cure, like Anita had another farmer that lives in the area had made these signs. She stopped at Anita's to drop them off, and she, either, I don't, we'll display these at the event, and like, how cool, like, she's just thinking of Colleen and made them, and just total strangers come and drop off stuff. And Colleen's been in the newspaper 2 times, and I'll share that with you before I close this video out, because a gentleman called me and said, was this your daughter in the paper? He says it's very interesting, and I said, oh yeah, we're so blessed. And I just, if he wanted to talk, like my thing was, if he knew a child, that could be of help to talk to me. And he says, well, I'd like to make a donation, and I need to know, are you 501c3? And I said, oh yes, we are. And I gave him my address, but I said, please write the check to the GLUT1 Foundation, as I didn't know what he was going to send. Some people call and they donate baskets, and they bring them here, or I go pick them up at their homes or businesses. And he said, all right, I'm going to get a check out in the mail, and, I wish you luck with your daughter. And when the check came, it was weeks later, and I'm sure he was super busy. And imagine a total stranger sat down and wrote out a check for $1,000. And when I opened it, like I was walking back from my mailbox, and I was like, $100, that's nice. But then I was like, no, it was $1,000 from a total stranger that didn't know Colleen, didn't know myself. And I mean, that helps people out. That's to the research that's done for this disease, to maybe someday have a cure, or maybe something other than the diet. We just celebrated Valentine's Day, and Colleen's stuff is here, and there's no candy. There's no, like, this is what Mike and I bought her other things, but we bought her this because she can have this syrup with, like, a tiny bit. It's made by Walden Farms, and it was just approved, in recent years that she can have one serving per day. So I do make her, like, something, and I'll put a tiny bit of chocolate on there, but her diet is so strict that maybe someday she won't have to be on the diet. So, you do all you can for your kids, and blessed that we have such great family and friends. And as we start getting donations in, I have an area downstairs that I have for baskets, and I have a whole separate room this year that it's just going to be Irish. And I'll work on this. I'll probably do stuff in the morning, then we work on Irish. Anita comes over, my friends come over and wrap baskets with me. And then, we try to do the greenhouse, because we got to get the greenhouse up and running. And it's like, soon as Irish for a Cure is done, and it's like right to farming season. So I'll keep you guys updated. If you have any questions about fundraising, we've certainly been through a lot. We've done a lot of things. We could always help you out. And spread the word, GLUT1 deficiency. And we'll be taking you to the fundraiser too, and you're going to see some pretty exciting things. So thanks for watching, friends. Hit like if you like this video, and leave me a comment, and leave Kala a comment too, because I read them, and she so loves them. So thanks for watching, friends. Have a good day.